also 17,000 on YouTube. And it's with the prominent guests, which gives us the honor that we can discuss world affairs. And I'm very happy here from Austria to have a friend and important expert and leader of Qatar, who is the opposition leader of Qatar. And Mr. Khalid, I'm very happy that you take time. I think you are basically in exile in the United Kingdom because Qatar, unfortunately, is not a democracy. We are very dependent on Qatari gas in Europe. We want to understand what's exactly going on in Qatar. And maybe, first of all, you can introduce yourself, and then we will discuss the situation of Qatar, the Middle East, and also the current crisis and the situation with Iran. I'm very grateful that you take time. Mr. Khalid, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for this introduction, and it's my pleasure to be here today. And it's very simple. I'm a local Qatari citizen. My name is Khalid El-Hayal, and I started the Qatari youth movement back in 2010. And 2014, I made the official announcement of the Youth Party, and then we moved into Qatar National Democratic Party, which has been active since then. So,
as you of this party?
I couldn't hear you. What you said?
You are the president of the party of the.
Yes. I am the leader of Qatar National Democratic Party, and we've been pressurizing the Qatari government since 2009 for having an election in the parliament. They promised us 2013. Then we held the election in 2020 plus, and then they canceled the whole democracy a few years ago.
They have canceled the elections completely.
They have canceled the whole election because they started to lose power within the constitution, and the Qatari government was not happy about that. So they've been describing themselves in the West as a constitutional monarchy system, and that's how they are pushing themselves in front of the West. But they canceled the whole election in Qatar because they started to believe that the founders' families of Qatar are not happy, and they will start to lose the power.
Tell me, Mr. Khalid, what we have to take from the Qatar government and the Qatar at the moment. Is it a friendly country to Europe or to the West, or is it an unfriendly country? Is it part of the hostile alliance which we have with Russia and Iran as enemies, or is it a friendly government?
First of all, Qatari people has no say in any of what the government and regime of Qatar do or say. It's an absolute monarchy system run by one man and a few people surrounding him. They choose to be an Islamist propaganda machine government. They choose to host Hamas. They choose to host Taliban. They choose to host a lot of terrorist organizations like the Muslim Brotherhood years ago. In 1999, everyone in the world saw first time Osama bin Laden on Al Jazeera channel. And since then, we only see an Islamist media narrative that the Qatari government adopted. The main reason they do that, they do believe that if they choose that narrative, they will be controlling a lot of Islamists in the world, and they could play with the people emotions in the Middle East by the name of God.
Tell us, also more or less, Khalid, we have to understand Qatar today as a hostile regime to the West.
Qatari regime is not a friendly country to the West. It's an enemy of the West. They are sponsoring and supporting anti-European values fronts all the way. Wherever you find a problem, if there is a kidnap, if there is money laundering, if there is Islamist support, all being sponsored and supported by Qatar. All of us knows the story of Tariq Ramadan, for example, the grandson of the founder of the Muslim Brotherhood movement. Qatar supported him big time in media, and they still supported him. They put a lot of pressure on on Hinda Ayari, the lady who who actually accused Tariq Ramadan of rape. They tried to buy silence. They always try to pressurize like governments, like even French government, Macron. They've been telling them you have to close the case against Nasser al-Khulaifi because it will affect the government of Qatar. Whenever there is any European values, you find Qatar is supporting exactly the opposite, and they are buying their own fronts and their way into the European Parliament. You've seen recently there was one European MP which been actually catched getting money from Qatar. How many other MPs and how many other officials in the European Union being sponsored by Qatar and has not been found out yet? It's a matter of time to find out who they buy and why they buy and what is their own agenda. You know, during the World Cup, you could understand a little bit that the corruption happened in the European Union and especially in the European Sport Committee. It was because they wanted to influence the votes. We all seen the corruption deals that happen. A lot of people being like being accused officially of getting bribes from Qatar for the 2022. That's their own method, but they're getting away with this all the time because there is a lot of people on the payroll that on their own good, they don't want to push this forward.
So Qatar today is a center of global corruption in the West, in Brussels and in Washington.
They are not only the main hub of corruption, they are a corrupted regime and they are buying their influence toward the European Union, toward the American institution, and the Constitution of America as well. You could see, for example, they've been pushing in the media in America that Qatar is the best ally of America. They have the largest airbase in the world. But when the story came to American interest in fighting Iran, they go to America, they said, oh, you cannot use our base. So what type of an ally is that? So why we would spend a lot of money and keep our airplanes there in Qatar? And are they our friends or the Iranian government friends? Everyone knows in 2019, Iran pressurized Qatar to leave OPEC in 2019, and Qatar left OPEC for Iran, and they've been focusing on the LNG for the gas, and Qatar and Iran sharing the largest gas field in the world. And the Iranian regime due to the sanction, they basically using the Qatari government to sell on their behalf as well, and no one is watching. There've been a lot of big deals recently with China, and that deals a lot of money is going basically to Iran, and they're buying their existence with the Iranian regime and the Americans and the Europe as well by lying to each other. And always we say a friend of everyone is the enemy of everyone.
Tell me about the relation of Qatar today with the other Gulf Cooperation Council members. Seemingly, there was also a crisis in 2017 ongoing. How is the relation with Saudi Arabia?
2014, they had a conflict. 2017, they had a conflict. And after 2014, they actually signed with King Abdullah. They lied to him. And then they came back to the same agenda. And 2017, the crisis established again. They signed a deal in 2020. The only issue we can see now is that most of the issues being raised by the GCC countries in that time, it still exists. Support of Hamas, Al Jazeera media narrative, and all of that is still there. And Qatar now choose to play a different game, a dirty game with their own neighbors. They said, okay, we can be their friends. We can still be friends with UAE, friends with Saudi Arabia, but we at the same time we make problems between them. So they go to their enemies, for example, and Houthis in Yemen. Okay, say this about UAE in Saudi Arabia to make a problem. For example, they created a fake narrative that UAE funded a front, funded Houthi or wanted to pay Houthi to actually hit Saudi Arabia in Neom. All of this sort of games is actually just, you know, a fake news that the Qatari government create and let the world believe it by pushing it in their own media. If you go see who basically was pushing that stories and narrative, you will find same people for many years. They've been pushing the stories of the Qatari government in the media. So they are part of a propaganda machine, and they basically using it now to revenge from their own neighbors. So the GCC countries now need to think and actually need to reconsider of what the Qatari regime is doing now. They have no options. They have only one options. Either they look after their own national security, or the Qatari government will start again, and they are actually never stopped supporting the oppositions of the GCC countries. If you see now, for example, in social media, there was a lot of fronts, NGOs against Saudi Arabia, but when the war between Saudi and UAE happened recently, the media war, I've seen the same fronts that been sponsored by Qatar, they become pro-Saudi and anti-UAE. That's crazy. So someone behind it. I mean, an opposition is an opposition. If you were talking all the time, for example, there was an account in Arabic called Nahw al-Hurriya. That account was basically focusing on a human rights angle in Saudi Arabia. They've been saying Saudi's been doing one, two, three, four, five. But then since the conflict between Saudi and UAE started, the same fronts being actually just anti-UAE and anti-Israel and anti the West interest in the Middle East.
We have actually very good relation as European Union with our friends from Kuwait, from the United Arab Emirates, and even with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And the idea is basically now, after we have concluded a free trade agreement with Mercosur, with India, now the next plan is Australia and of course the Gulf Cooperation Council. Do you support such an agreement, or should we include or exclude Qatar from such an agreement with the European Union?
Qatar should be sanctioned. First of all, the Qatari government should be sanctioned. European Union have their own standard operating procedures. How they could accept such a regime, a Qatari regime, an absolute monarchy system, one man show who agrees to wake up in the morning. He say, okay, give Hamas 100 million. No one from the country can say to him no, because there's no constitution in Qatar. If you want to be friends of Qatar, then you have to correct Qatar. You have to make sure the money is not coming against the European values. The money is not coming against the interests of United States, the interests of Israel, which is a friend of European Union as well. So all of that has to be put into the consideration. I do support sanctions on the Qatari government. At least the Qatari government will be transparent about how they're spending their money and where they're spending their money, because it's been affecting the Qatari people. They've been stealing our wealth. No one can actually ask them where you've been spending the money. And the European Union doesn't really understand where this is going. For example, in Qatar have a lot of arms within the European Union. You've seen in how they converted the Spanish regime to be a pro-Qatar all of the sudden. In France, in UK, they support all the Muslim Brotherhood NGOs. All of this is actually a big issue, a fundamental issue to be corrected. I'm not against the interest of my country, but I'm against the approach my country is taking, because no one is actually monitoring what they're doing. If there was a constitutional monarchy system and there was laws on place to control the money, then we have no problem. If we say, okay, if Qatar supported terrorism based on the agreement of every single person of Qatar, a constitution, then you can say the Qatari regime and Qatari people want actually to sponsor Hamas. I want to sponsor terrorism. But now it's a one-man show. He decides. He's the one who write the check. He's the one who can say whatever he want to say and whatever he want to do. And that's our problem. We want to correct that. We want to fix the constitutional system in Qatar, and we want to have to focus more in democracy, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of anything the Qatari people want to have. So for now, we cannot participate in any political decisions. We cannot participate in any decisions of how we spend our money in Qatar or who we want to host. We don't want Hamas people in Qatar. Who decided to host Hamas people in Qatar is one man. It's not us. So we don't want to have issues with Israel. We don't want Iran to airstrike us because of what they're doing. We don't want that problems. All what we want to live in peace, and we want to be part of the future of Qatar.
Tell me about your vision for governance of Qatar in the future. If you would be the prime minister, or I don't know, the king of Qatar, how would you govern this country, and how would you use these enormous resources and the enormous money which Qatar has? What would you do with this money? Would you also bribe European parliamentarians, US congressmen, buy media and support terrorism? Or how would you run your country if you were in power?
The first thing, the only reason for me to buy influence is because I'm doing something wrong. Qatar, because they keep doing wrong stuff, they want to cover it. So that's why they buy their influence. I don't need to buy my influence. If I do good things and I don't criminalize my own people, I don't take their own rights, I would not find any problem with Europe. I would not find any problem with my own people and with the West. So for us, we do believe a constitutional monarchy system will gonna work in Qatar. Because once you involve people in the power and participation of deciding the future of your own country, then everyone will be happy to be part of that country. Now, why people has to go in exile to be part of the decisions of the government of Qatar? I can't wake up one day and for the king to decide that, okay, today I want to give Hamas $100 million. Nobody can question me. For us, even the Ministry of Finance in Qatar, Central Bank of Doha, they have no standard operating procedure that is monitored by anyone. It's basically everything is covering each other the way the king wants. And that's not what we want. Like, I know Tamim on a personal level. I know Tamim like uh, I am talking to you now. I understand his brain. I know the way he thinks. The only issue with Tamim, he's an angry man. He is very aggressive man when it comes to a conversation. He don't want to listen. Even every Tuesday, royal family people of Qatar, they go actually visit him in his own majlis. The way he deal with them, he don't respect them. He don't give them their own rights. Their own royal family complaining about how much small salaries they get in and why he's giving his own brothers and direct cousins much more money than what he gave to the normal royal families, the founder families of Qatar. What people don't know that his own mother, Sheikh Moza, her father was the leader of Qatari opposition. They made peace in 1970. That's why his own father married Sheikh Moza. They said, okay, we can live together again. The country can be united. And then within years, things started to come back to the same narrative. 1996, they said, okay, this is the new Qatar. The new Qatar will have a normal relationship with Israel. They invited Shimon Peres in Qatar. But at the same time, they was hiding Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, the mastermind of 9/11. There was giving him money, giving him salaries, and they was working against the American interest. 1999, we started to see different narrative. Al Jazeera started officially supporting people like Osama bin Laden. Who knew about Osama bin Laden? No one. Only Qatar. Only the Qatari government knew how to go to his office. The way Qatari work is not actually based on diplomacy. Tamim could wake up now and say, oh, there is a conflict in Djibouti. Let's go and mediate. Oh, we don't have any role now. What can we do? Oh, let's ask Taliban to kidnap some British citizens, and then we tell the British people that we can mediate. So a lot of mediation happened recently is basically because Qatar have direct relationship with Taliban, hostages from Britain, even American journalists with the, okay, before we used to accuse Qatar, for example, Qatar regime of having a close relationship with Al-Nusra Front. In that time, it was a terrorist organization, which is currently ruling Syria. Qatar was denying it, said, no, we didn't do anything. I was putting evidence, financial evidence. Qatar is giving them money. They support them. No one believed in the war. They said, no, Qatar is just like this. What happened now? The whole world seen how Qatar pushed the narrative so strong with Americans. They put that guy in front of Trump. They put acceptance. Europe still didn't swallow Al Jolani, the Al
Humiliated
Nusra.
detainer.
Yes, they didn't swallow him until now yet. But Qatar working very hard for acceptance. Now,
So
did
Qatar is
we
lobbying for him, for Al-Chulani in Syria.
did we prove now that Qatar been actually supporting Al Nusra Front? Yes, because Qatar put him actually in power. And now, how could you accept a former ISIS member and leader of one of the biggest terrorist organization to change his abaya or thobe to wear his own suit and being accepted by the West? So
It's
did
terrible.
he actually?
He's killing
It's
the Kurds
terrible.
now. He's killing the Druze. He's killing the Alevites. Yeah, he is a real disaster, Mr. Shulani in Syria, and this is with the money of Qatar.
This is absolutely with the money of Qatar, with the influence of Qatar. Now I warn the West. I've been warning Britain for a long time. If you don't stop the Muslim Brotherhood and you don't criminalize them in the West, your next prime minister will be grandson of the Muslim Brotherhood founder, will be the grandson of Osama bin Laden. You see now in UK, a lot of councillors, a lot of mayors, they basically come from we are not racist. I'm not talking about racism. I'm talking about a country that's been run by its own people, but the democracy have been changed. It's been accepted. Even you cannot speak the language. You have different value. You are applying to be a counselor, for example, or a mayor, and you say publicly on TV that you should not be friends with Christians and Jews because they would never accept you to be part of. Uh, they will not accept you unless you follow their own religion. This sort of messaging is anti-Western values. For me, the same thing I think about the West, I thought about it in Qatar. What I didn't like in Doha is when you go to mosques like Sara Mosque in industrial area and you find people wearing like Taliban clothing with their own stick in my own country to protect that mosque, you show to the world that this country cannot protect themselves. Why you do that? So when you come to a West, can a normal English person or can a European person comes to Qatar next day and say, I want to buy this mosque to convert it to a church? If you do that, you will be killed by the people of Qatar. So why here Qatar sponsoring fronts and NGOs and mosques to buy churches to convert them to be mosques? You are provoking the society. If you don't know how to be friends of for the West, don't provoke the people. So don't work against their own value. It's their own country. Respect their religion, respect the way they live, respect their heritage, the way they respect the way you want to live. So if they decided to be whatever they want to be, so at least tomorrow Qatar, we're gonna say, fine, we will do the same. You can buy our own mosque, you can buy our own this, we have no problem. But do not push that narrative and you don't accept it. So why Qatar against, for example, controlling the mosques in UK? And in Qatar, they are controlling the mosques. So why you want to do something that why you are doing something you don't accept others to do? I'm not here against the religion. I am Muslim myself. I am Muslim myself. I like my religion, but I don't support the Islamist ideology and the terrorist ideological thoughts that the Qatari governments are putting to the West and to the people. Qatari people are different than the Qatari government. I always say, people say, oh, Qatari royal family. I can tell you, Qatari royal family is divided. The 30% of the Qatari royal family is pro Tamim because Tamim actually helping them. But don't forget, it's coup after coup after coup. So they've been taking power from their own cousins until it's become divided. So there is other parts of the royal family, which his own father was a king, his own cousin was a king, and now being isolated. So the whole power become under the hand of Tamim and his father and his brothers and the direct cousins, direct uncles. That's it. And that is not how a country should be run. A country is not a militant. Qatar run Qatar as a militant groups. So if you want to run a constitutional monarchy system, you have to accept people to be part of it, not to be against the people. And that's what exactly I've been saying for a very long time. I hope the Qatari people actually realize that this is an actual problem. The only issue now we face that we cannot criticize the Emir of Qatar publicly in Qatar because it's a crime. For one point, you could go for to 15 years in prison, and that is not fair. I mean, we was hoping the parliament of Qatar will accept us to do such thing or such work. I mean, he's not God. He is not God. He can do mistakes. And we want to be able to criticize him because now they're not happy. Oh, for example, Qatar not happy. I'm opening an office in Somaliland. Office in Somaliland is representing actually the other part of Qatar. If you're not willing to compromise and to deal with people, then yes, Qatar National Democratic Party, we will have our own government in exile. We will have our own Minister of Foreign Affairs. We're having our own Minister of Interior. We're having our own ambassadors. We have money. We have everything we want. If you have 1 billion, we have 1 billion. We don't care. We have the money. But at the same time, we will work hard against you to sanction your own money to participate. Example, if you have money outside, we will gonna come after that money because that money belongs to the Qatari people, not to you. And we want to make sure that this money basically is actually spent on the benefit and the interest of my own people in Qatar. That's jokes and the Qatari government been doing for a long time. It will not gonna go so easy. Now everything is changing. The world is changing. I always say they don't know what's coming their own way. The Prime Minister of Qatar, I mean, this guy, he don't understand anything in politics. I mean, I know him on a personal level, and I can show you some videos from Qatar National TV where me being interviewed alongside with him. He was nobody. He don't understand anything on the politics. All what he doing now is actually just repeating what Tabim want, what HBJ want, what HBK want. That's exactly what he have. He have no say in anything in Qatar. So that's why he been choose to be a prime minister of Qatar. That's not what we want in Qatar. A constitutional monarchy system. We should have people that actually understand the interests of Qatar, and that's what we are working toward. Qatar is trying to show the West and the world we are a strong country. People like us. People love us. No, people don't like you. The first trial, they failed. I tell you now, a lot of people said in the media there is no Qatari opposition. It's just two people, three people. No, you forgot what happened in 2017, 18, 19. How many royal family members spoke against the Qatari regime on TV? Go do your homework. How many people now in jail in Qatar because they spoke the truth? Now we've learned the lesson. The only tactics have changed. I told my people, I'll protect you this time. I don't want you to speak out in media without protection. All what you need to do is actually just be ready and prepared. Well, the moment the Qatari regime is falling, you are the future of Qatar. You participate in Qatar, and we have no intention of any harming or bloody coups or whatever. But we will definitely do it constitutionally, and the way Qatar been established in the 1850, 1860, how they lied to us before, because Qatar was about two main families and two tribes. Those tribes, the ones was controlling the country, which is Al Mu'adid and Al Muhannadi. And then a lot of war happened between them. And Qatar, their grandfather, he came with the face of religious that he knows better to teach us the religion and to teach our people. And then that's how our people trusted him. We gave him the power, but not to take over the country and to own it. And then what happened? They started to fight us. We are the other tribe. Our tribe is not less than their tribe. We have the same rights that they have, and we have the same power as they have. If they want to have the country for their own self, that will not gonna happen, because my people will gonna make sure that the future of Qatar, every single tribe will be part of it, including the Al Thanis and Al Ma'adid tribe.
Okay.
But yes.
Let me ask you what the European Union, as a political entity, we are the democracies of Europe, and we, of course, want to promote democracy everywhere in the world. Should we insist that Qatar has free and fair and democratic elections, which is a precondition for our trading relation? Do you think that we should strengthen and harden our policy towards Qatar to transform Qatar into a democracy?
Uh, I agree 100%. I would like, I'm actually already working on a policy that we want to present to the European Union, and it will be presented very soon. And that policy is actually speaking about the financial flow of Qatar, the money and everything, and how we want it to be controlled, not because we want to sanction our own country to not have money to be similar like Iran or other countries, no, but we want the money to go on the right way. We want it controlled, and we will do that. We will succeed. I'm putting a lot of pressure to the European Union, to the Americans, to a lot of countries who's holding Qatari investment to actually sanction the Qatari government until we have a normal standard operating procedure of how we could actually control the money and the financials of the country.
Have you been already invited to the European Parliament? Because, you know, we are very angry in Europe that the Qatari have bribed our members of the political system of the European Parliament. We have not forgotten, we will never forget this crime, and we are very angry with the Qatar government. So have you been already invited, and have you had contacts with the President of European Parliament, with Mrs. Metsola or other political leaders, or do you want to have these contacts in the future?
I will do have this contact, and I want to have this contact. The only issue I faced in the past that Qatar have a lot of influence into the European Union Parliament. Now, game is changing. I'm not gonna let this go. I mean, I will put my policy forward, and I'll sit with them, and we will talk, and we'll pressurize them in front of the media, in front of the world. I will expose them. If they are not willing to listen, the European Union, I will expose them. They have to listen and to give answers to what we want. If there's no answers, I mean, look, we are not weak. If the European Union thinks that we are weak and we cannot do things, that's actually wrong. We have a lot of power, and we will definitely go through this, and we will sit with them. If they are not willing to listen voluntarily, we will go to the European courts to force them to listen. And I'll do that.
Very good. Tomorrow there is in the White House the meeting of Bibi Netanyahu and President Trump to decide about the future core situation in Iran. The Iranian government has killed up to 30, 40, some reports say 90,000 people have been killed only this year by the suppression and the brutality of the Iranian government against the people of Iran. How do you see the situation in Iran? What is your policy? Are you for regime change? Do you support the Shah? What is your policy on Iran?
The Iranian regime should leave. They are a bunch of terrorists and thieves and criminals who've been terrorizing their own people for a very long time. They ruled Iran by the name of God, and they was lying by the name of God. Iran should be back to what it was before. I do believe the Shah and Reza Pahlavi, he is a very, very good option for Iran because he's an open-minded person and he have a lot of support. I've seen a lot of the opposition, other Iranian oppositions, could be the religious movements and other movements, but they don't have the same support that Reza Pahlavi have. So I do believe that Iran should change within because the existence of the Iranian regime is danger and risk to Qatar, to my own people. We don't want to have them there. They are very dangerous people, and I'm sure that the economical of Iran will thrive the moment the Iranian regime is gone. So the future now is in the hand of the Iranian people. I'm not calling for violence, but a revolution should happen, and that's a must because the language Iranian regime understand is violence. They don't accept democracy. They don't accept to talk to people normal dialogue. So I hope that Iranian people will succeed in freeing their own country from this terrorist regime.
Are you already in contact with Reza Pahlavi, or is any meetings planned in the future? Because Reza Pahlavi will come now next week to Europe. He will be at the Munich Security Conference. There will be a largest demonstration in Munich now on the next
I've been,
Saturday. So
yes,
there's a lot of opportunities maybe to get in touch and to express solidarity and to build a leadership network for change in the Gulf region. Because if Iran is changing, I think Qatar can change as well. And we will have a democratic partner at the Gulf in Qatar and in Iran in the future. That will be much better for the West and for Europe. And we could hopefully achieve that in 2026.
yes, I've been in touch with him. He's a great man and a man who have a good vision. I like his thoughts. I like the people work with him as well. He definitely have a love for his country and definitely respect my country as well. And he understand that the existence of the Iranian regime now is a danger to the region and to the Iranian people as well. That's why I am fully supporting him. And actually, I will help him definitely to achieve his own goal. And that is very important message that everyone should actually work toward it to support the Shah.
What's your hope when it comes to American policy? Because America obviously is a very important partner of Qatar, has a big military base in Qatar, and now President Trump is basically mobilizing a lot of troops in the region. So my question is, what do you want from America? Do you want support for democracy, or do you think this current situation of massive influence buying and political buying of Qatar in America is acceptable for the future?
I have a lot of contacts in America and very strong contact in the White House as well, and people actually nearby Trump. There is no doubt they do understand the Qatari government. It's just they are actually using them now for to finalize small things. They know they are dealing with kids. One guy, very senior American person, told me, your people are kids. They are asking us to praise them, to say nice things about them in media. Oh, Qatar, this guy is a very nice man, and Tamim become red. This sort of policy, he's giving it to them. Just give me what I want. We give you what you want. So that's basically, I was surprised that someone like Tamim is actually represent my country with this ideology. He been bothering Kushner through Ali al-Zawadi He been bothering him a lot. Oh, can he say nice things about me? Can he say nice words about us? Can they sign agreement to protect us? That's the way Tamim thinks. I'm not joking. That's the way he thinks. It's a disaster. All what he wants them to speak nice words about him. And I've been saying, even before I was telling Tamim, I said, look, I mean, what do you want? Oh, when you go here, please say nice words about me. I look nice. I'm handsome. I'm tall. I said, I mean, what is this? I mean, this sort of point is not, it's wrong. I mean, you are a king. You should have your own words toward of whatever you want to say, and you have your own decision. I always, some people sorry for what I will say, but a lot of times when I describe him, a man who's hiding under his mother's skirt, not because I try to defamate his character, is because of actually what he's saying. Every time we want to have something, he say, "Oh, I speak to my mother." I mean, come on. What do you mean? You are a king. Now you have the power. You have to decide.
In America, there is a lot of rumors and accusations, which I cannot confirm, that Qatari is also buying a lot of influence in social media, and they are buying some of the MAGA influencers, financing them, and also, in the whole affair around Epstein, Qatar was also mentioned quite often. What's your take on
Yes.
the situation? Do you think that's
Look,
true?
I understand how they work in America. We really know what they're doing in America very well. I know who's they're buying. They're not buying. They are renting people. They are renting because who they are renting is anti-Qatari values. They can buy their silence for a small period of time, but when the money stop, they will all turn against him. And that's what he's not realizing. So renting people policy is not working anymore. Now, in America, I am doing a lot of work, fundamental work that will change the existence of the Qatar regime now. Um, they don't respect him. Don't think they are respecting him. They don't. They basically, what they're doing is just giving them what they want to finalize small, like Gaza deal, Gaza ceasefire deal, the Iranian talks, and few other things. You've seen, I will not do anything until Netanyahu say sorry. Who says that? I mean, come on. You are a king of country. You say to Trump, I cannot mediate anymore with Hamas. At least he say sorry. Netanyahu said, give me the phone. Oh, sorry. Okay. Next day they do. Doesn't work like that, brother. This is not the way politics work. We need a proper man and a proper king to actually rule the country. If you have a problem, a diplomatic issue with a country, you don't deal with it a childish way. Ask for to say sorry. This is the media. I pay media money to go write things about me. That's wrong.
No, I hope that you will be one day the leader of Qatar, because it's really changed what we need from terms of the Qatari policy for the Qatari people, but also for the West, because such a
I
huge
am.
amount of money has a very nefarious influence on our European politics, on the politics in America. And I think this must change now, because this money should be available for good purposes, infrastructure, investments. Qatar could be a real center of global prosperity and could really do so much good with all the fortunes you have, which basically comes from global consumers, which have to pay your energy, and then you abuse it. Your government is abusing it for terrorism, for corruption, for influence peddling. This is a big, big misallocation of resources. And I can just hope that you will very soon be the leader of Qatar and change all these things.
That hope is not a hope. We are working toward it, and we actually living as we already took the power of Qatar. And I know exactly what's going on. And I know certain, I'm 100% certain this time this regime will fall. And we are doing what we're doing now is not basically negotiating how the Qatari government will be changed. We are thinking now already about the next step of what's going to happen after, not what will going to happen to change the regime. So there is a standard operating procedure. There is a policy in place. There is actually a work in progress, and we will succeed this time. Thank you
I
very
will
much for
Mr. Khalid, I will
yes.
also put Qatar on my list of hostile states, which hopefully will be regime changed in 2026. Because, as you know, maybe from my Twitter feed, I'm working intensively for Russia to change, Iran must be regime changed, and also Qatar must, in a package, basically also have a new leadership and a new democratic future for the Qataris and for the whole region and for the whole world, because the nefarious kind of terrorism funding and influence buying must end. And I hope your leadership will start already to contribute to this change in 2026. I want to thank you very much for coming to
Most
the
welcome.
Günther Show. If you have a last statement, please, you are welcome. And then we will conclude the show.
My statement just for the Qatari people, uh, and I would like to say to them that they don't need to worry. They don't need to have any fear from the Qatari government. Everything will gonna be run the way they want, and things will gonna run very smoothly and for their own favor.
We Europeans want a democratic Qatar, which is part of the free world, allied to us, and we will also be allied to you, the Qatari people, and we want you to live in freedom, prosperity, security, and to be friends with Europe. And thanks a lot for this talk, Mr. Khalid.
Thank you very
Best
much.
for your struggle for freedom, and thanks for joining Günther Show.
Thank you very much. See you.